The 2023 wholesaling real estate ban. Is wholesaling real estate banned in 2023? Depends who you ask. If you ask a guru who's trying to make money off of you, who's also a realtor that wants you to become a realtor, yes. If you ask a lawyer, they're going to say no. If you ask a realtor, they're going to say, yeah, it's banned. If you ask a title company, they're going to say, no, it's not banned. It's really up in the air for a lot of people. But what I want to do is just give you a complete, non-biased, best I can do, breakdown of wholesaling regulation. Because wholesaling regulation is coming. It is happening right now. But the thing I want you to understand is it's not a regulation on wholesaling. It's a regulation on how you wholesale. And I think this is the biggest problem I think a lot of people have. And I think this is a big issue because most people that make videos on wholesaling laws and bans and all these things, it's so bad. Like, it is so bad. I decided, to make this topic today because you know why? I showed you this comment the other day. Somebody said, hey, there's this new law going in Kentucky talking about assignment of contracts. What is this about? They said this in a Facebook group, not my Facebook group, because people in my Facebook group know what they're doing. The person commented underneath it. You know what they said? Wholesaling real estate is completely banned in Kentucky. You can't even wholesale in Kentucky. Banned. And like they're insinuating you go to prison. You're right next to the murderers if you wholesale real estate. Some gurus actually did some videos. They said, if you don't wholesale the right way, if you buy my program, you're going to go to jail. And this misinformation is so bad. It is so terrible. When in all actuality in Kentucky, they try to regulate one part of wholesaling, which is the marketing side, which is kind of stupid the way, because it's just so easy. They made the law so you can just go around it. But what we want to do is break down basically all of wholesaling regulation currently right now, where it's heading to in the future, and why most of it's overblown. We still believe that in 99% of cases in real estate wholesaling, you should not have a real estate license because the real estate board will take away your assignment fees. Not may, will, because they've done it on multiple occasions. And it's a very interesting thing. But before we break it down, before we share this, because this is the information you need to know, I can confidently tell you, and this is with truthfully in my soul, and I know in your soul, there is nobody else on YouTube, nobody else that's going to give you straightforward advice on wholesaling laws that doesn't have a hidden agenda. What do I mean by this? I do not have a hidden agenda today, you either, of I'm going to tell you something, and then what I want to do is really push you toward to signing up for something or doing something. It's not. I do a free wholesaling course. You can do it. You don't have to do it. I don't care. I just want you to have the knowledge in your head of what to do. But what we're going to do is read the laws. What we're going to do is follow probably the most important document any citizen in the United States can have is the Constitution.
Which we tend to ignore now.
A lot of people like ignoring it, but the Constitution actually has laws about wholesaling from the 1700s. And I like the Constitution. US of A, baby. I believe in it, right? And I can tell you, we can look at the Constitution because whatever law passes anywhere, it goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has a conservative majority, and the conservative majority has stated on every occasion that they're going to read the Constitution and read it up to whatever new law comes down. And we have some interesting clauses in wholesaling real estate that no guru, no YouTuber on wholesaling has ever brought up about wholesaling laws. Not one person. But guess who likes reading the Constitution for fun? That's kind of a nerd. Me. I bring it to you. You're like, oh my gosh, right? You didn't even know that. But
it's amazing the depth that our forefathers had way back then. But guys, here's what you have to understand, and we're going to get into it, is you understand when people attack you with fear. I get it. It's attractive. The guy sitting behind bars is wholesaling will be illegal. And if you do the panic mode like everybody else, you're going to be scared. Read the dang thing. I'm telling you, most of these ticky-tack law statutes, there's no definitive definition of how you're breaking law. You can't market. What does that mean? You can't advertise. What's your definition of advertising? Stop being scared. Read it. And when someone says, hey, you're going to go to jail for it. Say, please give me names, give me actual court cases of people that you're going to get nothing but crickets, guys. And here's the problem is if you're going to follow the masses in the crowd, which you're probably not because you're a wholesaler, be very, very aware because the idea is most politicians put these things in to scare you. And they know when it comes down to it, the teeth is going to be challenged. I get it. I don't want anyone to be brought into a court of law and challenged on this stuff. But like, I got to be honest with you, man. Some of this stuff is so ridiculous. If you think getting your real estate license solves all your problem, that is one of the biggest lies and scams I've ever seen out there. Do you want to be a realtor? Or you want to be a wholesaler? Why? That's like telling an electrician you got to go get a plumber's license. Why? In case you break a pipe? So this argument goes on to the end of the time. We're here to give clarity to it. Let's do it.
We're here to break it down. So let me explain one thing really quick. And this is very important. And this is a bold comment. This is a bold comment. And it's shocking that no other comment, but I'm just going to say it.
Uh-oh.
In all 50 states in the United States of America, wholesaling real estate is legal. Now, there are obviously laws and regulations in what you can and can't do in some states and other states. But for wholesaling real estate, there are laws in every single state. Every state has some type of law about wholesaling real estate. For example, if I wholesale a house and I legally sign a contract, I have to not forge somebody's signature. That's an actual law. Forgery is a crime, right?
Yeah.
I can't steal. I can't cloud somebody's title maliciously. I can't criminally go beat somebody up under distress and say, sign this or else. That is intimidation. That is assault. That we have laws for these things. So yes, there are laws when it comes to wholesaling, but that's in general.
General fraud, completely misleading practices. And so the few people go, hey, Rick, what about this guy, that guy? Every one of them is forgery, flat out fraud. If you misrepresent a bank loan, that's not illegal wholesaling. And honestly, you're getting a bank loan. It has nothing to do with wholesaling. Guys, ask for proof. You won't get it. And they're like, no, it's coming. Guys, we're in an argument between federal and state. Federal, in my opinion, supersedes state. But like we can do this argument. There's so many other industries that have the exact same thing going at without me getting into the weeds of it. You know what I mean? Went over your head, didn't it?
Yeah, probably.
But like, it's okay. So but these state arguments, like there's an industry where the states are legalizing it, but the federal says it's 100% illegal. And guys, it's everywhere and they just ignore it. So why are you so scared as a wholesaler? We have the opposite problem and you have the United States Constitution backing you up.
Oh, I know you're talking
the
about.
mother of all, like, so it's reverse.
It's true.
So if I was scared of that, like, why are you guys going to all these places? Because it's against federal law. So which would you rather be on, the federal law side or the state law side? Rest my case. Guys, this is a joke. What's going on? Stop being scared.
It's like, yeah. So I know what you're talking about. It's like if you're in Colorado right now and you buy, let's say, some weeds from the local shop there.
Yeah.
If it's like I make a video that says, if you have this in Colorado, the FBI is going to come down and arrest you. It's going to be a raid and you're done. Right. And the truth is, yeah, it's against one law, but like no one's enforcing it because it's unconstitutional. Right.
But people are putting hundreds of millions of dollars in this industry and at any moment they can be taken down. And let me tell you, the federal government has a lot more power than the state with all their departments. Guys, like, don't let these little laws scare you. It's ridiculous. You got to be educated. We're going to work on it today.
And we're going to break it all. So let's break it all down. But before we do that, we got an intro. We know what to do. We got to get you excited, ready to go. So before we get into it, guys, you already know what to do. Make sure you smash the like button, compile your questions, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Because honestly,
You got a bell?
No, I do not have a bell. Okay. I make too much money to have
little
bells.
bell. Yeah.
All right. The bell, like you click the bell to get notified when we go live.
It's cute, isn't it?
It's cool. But guys, what I can tell you is we have no agenda today. We are here just to educate you.
Educate. That's it. Stop being scared, guys. Well, actually, you have the opposite problem. What we talked about before, the federal government's on your side of the United States Constitution, which, like, to me, that's where the power is. And I'm tired of people trying to write the laws and manipulate stuff. It's ridiculous. And this is going to keep going on. If you think you're going to hide behind a realtor's license, you're just going to create a whole new wave of problems for yourself. So
let's get it.
Let's do it.
The intro. Let's get it going. And
Maybe
Let's
we'll
break
talk
it all
about.
down.
Let's go.
Woo!
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, get the guy go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up, get up.
Oh, yeah. Let's get it going, guys. Let's break it all down. One thing I want to let you guys know before we start this, and this is something I want people to understand, that wholesaling real estate is not a thing where just like the little mom and pops do it and it's being cracked down and all this crazy stuff. Guys, the reason why these laws are happening, why all this thing's going on is just, first of all, wholesaling is done by multi-billion-dollar corporations. So probably the largest wholesaler I know is D.R. Horton. And what D.R. Horton does, they're pretty much one of the biggest home builders in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they do, sometimes they'll buy contracts to buy pieces of land, and then they decide through, inspection, whatever, it's not good enough for us, right?
Yeah.
Or, whatever. And they'll assign that contract to buy that piece of land to other people, and they will legitimately make $1 million assignment fees from it, all legally, right? I think the market cap is it's worth $30 billion, that corporation, and they wholesale houses, and they make a good amount of money doing it too. They're not wholesalers per se, majority, but like they make a ton of money doing it. So if you think that a $30 billion corporation is going to just be okay with wholesaling, no, they're not. Okay. There is a reason why they don't ban wholesaling. They try, because that corporations like that would never stand for it. Guess who else assigns contracts? Banks do it all the time. Like huge corporations assign contracts. So an assignment of contract is the same thing as writing up a contract.
95% of mortgages are assigned in the
That's
first
it.
year.
And so here's the best part of it all. And this is the sexiest part of it all. To write a contract, first of all, if you really look into contracts and what they are and how contracts actually work, contracts are a lot of things. If I go agree to sign a phone bill or whatever, I just sign a contract, right? Cable company, I just sign a contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this thing, like we're having a multifamily thing. We're putting, what is it called? What's the wires for the internet?
Oh,
the good cable, I'm blanking on it, but like we had to sign a contract to get the fiber optics on it. Like we had to sign a contract. I'm like, I was thinking about it. Like we're signing it. I'm like, I'm literally signing a contract, and people are trying to ban this. We have to understand fundamentally wholesaling real estate. We write contracts and we sell the equitable interest in the contract. And so contracts are done by pretty much every corporation in the United States.
Leases are a big part of it too.
Leases are contracts.
Commercial, everything, even your little residential lease. If you decide to sell the property with the tenant, if that lease isn't assignable, it becomes really problematic. Everything has to be assignable. They're never going to get rid of it because it would ruin businesses head to toe.
Well, that's how leases work. And so renters are one of the biggest demographics in America. And for them to protect themselves from not getting kicked out month to month, they have to sign contracts on real estate to lease, purchase, or sell real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening, there's two states that are trying to stop it. They are the weeds of the laws because they're trying to stop it. So understanding that wholesaling is not going to get banned. I want you to understand, because to ban that, you have to ban people from renting out property. And the largest hedge funds in the United States right now are renting out properties and doing leases. And so there's a reason why. So there's some laws where they're trying to, well, let's just get into the laws, but they're trying to stop people from writing leases, but they're trying to go after wholesaling. But to go after wholesaling, you have to go after every single tenant. You have to go after every single landlord.
Yeah.
You have to go after every single. So if I'm a landlord, and I own a lot of rental property. If I'm a landlord, okay, and I own 2 rental properties and I sign 2 leases with 2 of my tenants, I'm theoretically breaking the law in Illinois and in a new law in Maryland. Here's the truth. Are they really going to go after the 7-year-old lady that's renting out 2 houses? No. So it's unconstitutional. And so just letting you know that these laws have been here for the Illinois law that they have, which we'll break down, has been here for about 4 years now, right? 4 years, and not one person has enforced it because they're just trying to go after wholesaling. But if you're going to go after me for wholesaling in Illinois, you're going to have to go after every single lady that rents out 2 houses.
Yeah, you can't pick and choose, guys. They're trying to stop wholesaling because once again, people don't understand it. It's mostly driven by the realtors industry, NAR, not every realtor. That's a misleading comment, but you just can't do it. So we're going to attack marketing and advertising and we're going to go after your equitable interest. It's such nicky-knack like little stuff. And the whole violation, all this stuff, you have to have a real estate license. Well, real estate license is set there as a monopoly by NAR, the National Association of Realtors, to drive fees. Do you know most realtors do little to no business and they collect hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue every year? And the system's set, whereas in NAR's perfect world, if anyone ever touched a piece of real estate, including a FSBO like seller, if it was up to them, you would have to get some sort of licensing. It's towards their beneficial interest. Now, don't get me wrong, licensing's at the state level, but that just creates a basically funnel to shove everybody in to become a licensed realtor. And then why not get access to MLS, get your dues? NAR is your biggest labor union, in my opinion, outside some of the old school
Teachers, Teamsters,
something like that. And we all know that in the long run, all these labor unions, it's always problematic in the long run because funds always get manipulated. They run out. You got to fund the old with the new. And if not enough new people come in, it's a problem. So everything that comes in has an agenda. And don't you find it ironic to fix every one of these loopholes? You have to be licensed.
Or you have to pay money. So it's ridiculous. So let's just talk about it. Okay. First of all, what's going on? Why are we making this video? Regulations coming. What's going on? So in 2023, 2 laws came about to quote unquote, as the gurus say, it's a wholesaling ban. And I'm not exaggerating. They called it a wholesaling ban. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's not a ban on wholesaling. It is clearly not.
That's a marketing term.
It's a marketing term. Wholesaling has never been banned. It can't be banned. To ban wholesaling, you will have to ban America. That's the honest truth. And so it's so funny the way they try to ban it. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the truth about these quote unquote wholesaling bans. Okay. When you hear the word wholesaling ban, okay, you are being manipulated for money. All right. So if somebody tries to tell you wholesaling is about to be banned, watch out. There's always going to be something in the end for you to pay them money. They're always going to be. Join my brokerage, join my thing, pay me money, be a realtor, spend $5-6 grand a year just to be a realtor so I can get a 25% commission off of you. And so also I can be your own boss. When you are a realtor, you have a boss and they can tell you what you can or can't do in real estate and in wholesaling. And wink, wink, a lot of these people are going to try to get a percent off of your assignment fee by doing no work, not bringing any buyer to you, not helping you. No, they just want a big portion of your assignment fee, up to 20-25% of it.
Well, keep in mind, if you go under a broker, their whole goal is to make money off you. So if you're coming on the brokerage just to be under that dome of protection and generate no revenue, you're going to have to pay them something sooner or later. Now, the more they push wholesalers and investors under this licensing umbrella, under a realtor-broker relationship, these brokers are going to go, wait a minute. Like, you just did 36 assignments. I didn't get a dime of it. So now comes the question, were you a realtor or were you an investor wholesaler? And once you get a realtor's license, you're under one umbrella. You can't jump in and out. I don't care what you say. And I promise you, if you ever wind up in the court of law, you are a realtor. They're not going to hear your investment argument. Oh, I have disclosures. I'm here to tell you, once you become licensed, that's it. Once you become a licensed attorney, and I just have a basic conversation with you, I just gave you licensed professional opinion, and I'm held to the highest standard in court to do it. You can't go in and out. And I'm here to tell you. So think about this. You're a broker. You go, okay, I'm an investor-friendly broker. And by the way, brokers are bought and sold like milk jugs. They move so fast. So you can be under one, they can sell it out from under you. And a lot of these are built on like MLM things. Like you bring somebody in, you get a $300 perk. Well, that's how I'm going to drive it. And what you have to understand is, why would a broker take you if they can't generate any revenue from you? They're completely liable for everything you do and say. And you're probably going to get multiple complaints in front of the board of realtors. But someone says, hey, I have an investor-friendly broker. There's no such thing as an investor-friendly brokerage. They're all under the same umbrella. It's just, now maybe they have more investors under that, which is fine. But if you tick somebody off, and you will in wholesaling, because it's just the nature of the beast, most people get upset with us because they don't understand what we're doing. Instead of trying to understand it, which I strongly tell you, don't try to explain it because you just waste your time and piss them off more, they file a complaint for you. And there's a 3 million Karens out there that that's going to file the most complaints when you get licensed. It's other realtors, hands down. Now, I can't tell you how many times in my 20-year career someone said they're going to file a complaint for me. I said, there's only one person you can file a complaint to. It's my mother. That's it. That's the only person I'm going to listen to. And here's the problem. Even if it's a bogus claim, you have to defend yourself. You have to substantiate it, and your broker has to help you out and get through it. How many times do you think your broker's going to sit through that and go, what the heck are you doing, Zach? Like, you're getting me in trouble. This is getting crazy. And then you're going to go from broker to broker. Like, now you have a license. You paid all these fees. You're like, what the heck did I do with this all? I thought it was supposed to protect me. Nope, you opened up Pandora's box. So I just find it ironic that every solution seems to be like, get licensed. Guys,
It's bad.
if you want to be a real estate agent, go knock yourself out. But if you want to be an electrician, go get your electrician's license. Don't go get your plumber's license. A real estate license will do nothing for you. And here's my other favorite one. But, well, if I get a realtor's license, it'll give me instant credibility. No, it's not. Realtors know if you do business or not. They have thousands and thousands of hours under it, just like wholesalers know. You are not going to get credibility with just a license.
Exactly. But the other thing on here too is, so if I'm an attorney, okay, and I try to buy my own house and write up a contract, I'm an attorney. These wholesaling laws that 2 states have tried, theoretically, if I'm an attorney, I will go to jail for leasing more than, if I'm an attorney and I rent out 2 properties, jail, right? That's what the gurus are making it seem like. It's just so crazy the way they do that. But let's just break it all. You know why? I want everyone to understand why I made this video today. Some people, why are you saying you've said this video? Because I get comments like this. So wholesaling is also being banned in Maryland. This is one of the most ridiculous comments I've ever. I feel like this is a troll just to work me up. But so wholesaling is only being banned in Maryland. Who watches this video and from there they say, okay, wholesaling is banned in Maryland? Like, what in the world is this? This is the Twilight Zone.
Unless they threw the Constitution like out the door, it's ridiculous because you still, even if you were prosecuted for this, they'd have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And then you just, like, states just can't supersede. Guys, I see contracts all the time in real estate. People put stuff in there that's basically illegal. Like my favorite is when somebody writes in a bona fide real estate contract, your EMD is a non-refundable. You can't write that in a state-approved, FAR approved contract. It's an escrow is an escrow. It goes in a neutral party. If you have a separate agreement on what the agreement is with the escrow money, that's a different story. But you can't just because somebody puts it in a contract doesn't make it legal. The same thing is going on with lawmakers.
And so let's break this down. And so I want everyone to understand that there's currently 2 new changes coming down in 2023 that are being proposed. Some don't pass and some do pass, right? What I can tell everybody watching this is just a rule of thumb. There's only one state right now that's trying to stop wholesaling. In general, they can't because they pass an unconstitutional law that is not enforceable. That is actually not being enforced currently. There are people in Illinois right now that are just wholesaling and they don't really care. I'm not saying you should do that, but there are ways around it. You should talk to an attorney and they can clearly tell you. I've been told clearly from my lawyers that I cannot tell you the loophole around Illinois for some reason, but I will not explain it, but you guys can do it yourself. But what I can tell you is if you have a state that loves regulation, if your governor says we should regulate things more, I want more regulation in your life. The government should be in bed with you more. We don't have enough government in my life. Regulate me harder, please. That if your governor says that, it's probably going to be a state that's not going to be wholesaling friendly. Just a quick thing you can look up. If your state has laws to stop people from increasing rent, that's probably not a good state for wholesaling. It's highly regulatory, and regulation is not I'm not a big fan of it. You know, I'm kind of a guy that, you know, you tell me what to do, I don't like it, right? And I have morals, ethics, all these things, but I feel like what's going on with the laws currently, I think it's pretty much written perfect. Like Florida, they have the laws written pretty well, right? And so what I could tell you is the 2 new changes coming down, the current wholesaling bans. Let's break it down. So let's break down the 2 current new laws that are being proposed, right? And so one is in Maryland. I call it a FSBO law. It's not even it's not a wholesaling law anymore. But what they try to do is, let's just pop it up and actually show you what it actually is. Now, this isn't passed. This is proposed, and usually they change a bunch. But really what this bill basically tries to do is they try to say that real estate brokerage means basically what real estate brokering means, which I actually believe in real estate brokers and the law of how states make real estate brokers. I actually do believe to a point that if you are a person that makes a fee off of the buying and selling of real estate, a commission, you should probably be regulated, right? But it's not regulated enough, but to a point, I get it. I'm not like outrageous about it, but let's share what it really says here, okay? A real estate brokerage means a single, multiple, or continuing act of dealing in timeshares or options, selling or offering for sale, buying, negotiating, purchasing, engaging in property management, leasing or offering the lease, blah, 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 of any real estate improvement and others for a fee, compensation, other valuable considerations. So if you don't own the house and you don't have a contract to buy the house and you're trying to buy and sell someone's house and you don't own it, I get it. I get the whole brokering thing, right? Like I get it, right? You should know what you can or can't do. But it's all, so this new law is trying to include this, includes advertising for sale and equitable interest in a contract for the purchase of real property between a property owner and prospective purchaser. Now, this is interesting because real estate brokering in general, so the real estate brokerage, you get paid for basically offering, buying, and doing all the real estate buying and selling thing and leasing without owning it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're basically an agent, a real estate agent for somebody. Now, what they're trying to do is, since if you actually own a contract, I'm the actual legal owner of this equitable interest and I sell it, they're saying, well, if you own it too, you should have it. So this is the same thing, in my opinion, as saying if you own real estate, you should be a broker, right? It's ridiculous, right?
What is equitable interest? If you own your personal home, you got an equitable interest. You're on title. You have an interest. It's so vague. There's not how do they come up with this stuff? And by the way, I'll do an option. I'll work my way around it. That's an equitable interest technically.
And so but here's the thing. Maryland, this is which one is this one? Is this Kentucky? Oh, my bad. This is Kentucky. Sorry.
That was the Kentucky
one.
So
this is Kentucky. So let's talk about Kentucky first, okay? My bad. Sorry. Kentucky is what we call a marketing law. I don't know why that popped up first, but this is Kentucky, okay? So wait, no. Is this Maryland? I think I was showing the wrong one. My bad, guys. I was showing the wrong one. So, sorry, my bad. All right, let's reset this, okay? Sorry, guys.
Which one is that?
I was reading the wrong. This is the Kentucky's law, okay? Real estate brokerage basically means that it's adding the including advertising and sale of an equitable interest in a contract for the purchase of a real property. So what's advertising? So what they're trying to do in Kentucky, since it's a conservative state, they can't really do anything against the Constitution, and they refuse to do it. They're trying to stop you from advertising, not from selling your equitable interest, not for doing an assignment of contract. They're not trying to stop this in Kentucky, okay? They actually can't do that. They physically can't. And so what they're trying to do is stop you from advertising. What's advertising? Well, what does real estate mean? Well, we can go here and they give you definitions. What's real estate? Okay, timeshares, options, and other interest in leaseholds. They give me definitions of everything here, right? Broker, they make it very clear. But they don't give me a definition for advertising. It's very vague on purpose. You know why it's vague? Because if they give you a real definition, then it's deemed unconstitutional and they can't do it. So there's no definition. And so there's a definition of advertising for brokers, but I'm not a broker, right? So I need a definition for this one. And does that mean marketing materials? I don't know. And so theoretically, they're trying to stop me from marketing or putting it in a newspaper. And it's kind of a stupid law. You just get around that really easy. You could double close, all these things.
There's a million ways, guys. Just remember, always think about, listen, every law they're going to pose will always be 2 steps ahead of it. Is it a pain in the butt? Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But remember, a lot of these laws are trying to appease certain party members and keep it constitutional. And sometimes I just think they put these things on here just to appease people and get people off their back. Who wants to try a case where it's not winnable? So whenever they bring somebody up, whoever, you know, if the state's going against you or something like that, they want to win. If there's no definition of advertising, I'm not an attorney, guys, but I would just tell me what advertising law we broke. Which one? Where's the advertisement? Do you have the printout? Do you have documentation of it? So I'm here to argue, guys, it's just read this stuff. Me and Zach are the only ones that actually publicly come on the air and say, hey, listen, stop believing everything you're hearing and look into it. Guys, I've been wholesaling over 20 years. I have never, ever been challenged once. I've done it all over the United States. I know I had better times when I started, but like a lot of this stuff's ridiculous. So a lot of people, a lot of influencers are saying, listen, just give up and put in your real estate license. We're the complete opposite. Why do something that I don't want to be a real estate agent? Like, it's crazy. Like, guys, read it. We know what happens when we just follow the masses and we do what they say. We had a human experiment a couple of years ago, and you know, I couldn't even go out on my public beach without covering my face. It's like, how do you enforce a law like that? You guys are being played the exact same way. Maybe some states will get a little bit more specific, but this is ridiculous because this means so many banks, institutions, hedge funds are all going to be breaking this statute. And how are they going to take them down? Are they going to take me and Zach down for it? Like, it's crazy. So just get very, very familiar with your state laws and stop believing everything everybody tells you on the internet. Because if you think you're going to join someone's brokerage to have the shield, you're 100% wrong.
I agree. It drives me crazy that I see this all the time from wholesalers and everything like that. Oh, there's this new law. It's going to stop this. Honestly, what I can tell you is so many wholesalers try to put the fear into you. And it drives me crazy.
Fear sells. And that's why you guys get it. And like, why, if somebody's got 10, 20 years experience in the industry, why don't they help like read the bills, tell you how to navigate instead of just going, listen, just throw your towel in. You guys are screwed. Like, end of story. And I just crazy, man.
Let's talk about this Maryland bill. All right. So Maryland has this thing where basically it says real estate brokering. They're altering the definition of real estate brokerage services to include engaging the business of real estate wholesaling to require an individual who engages in wholesaling to be licensed as a real estate broker, an associate real estate broker, or real estate salesperson, generally related to the provision of brokering services. Okay, so at least Maryland does this, right? They tell me what the definition of wholesaling is. So regardless of whether the activity is engaged for another person, engaging the buying or selling, offering to buy or sell, or marketing of real estate, of otherwise dealing in contracts, including contracts for real estate or options on real estate on 2 or more occasions in any 12-month period. So what that basically means is, to a point, if you are engaging in the buying or selling or offering to buy or sell, so to either buy something, to sell or market real estate, or dealing in contracts, leases, including assignable contracts for real estate on 2 or more occasions, that's considered brokering, which is kind of funny because it's a little different because this just says wholesaling and this says for renting out property on top of it. And so they're not giving me a good one too on this. So this one's very vague on purpose too. So theoretically, you could be allowed to lease on here, but if you're allowed to lease, then the other, it's kind of funny because this law, it contradicts itself so much. So the purpose of this law is to say if you're wholesaling, you have to be licensed. Well, okay. Well, if the law is just for wholesaling, I'll just double close. But they're like, well, wholesaling is when you buy houses. And I'm like, that's not wholesaling.
That's crazy.
And so they're really contradicting themselves on this law. And you're going to get no definition of it because they're not going to do anything. But pretty much, I keep going here on the bell on this. But pretty much, let's see, engaging regularly in the business of dealing in real estate or leases of options on real estate. So it's kind of funny how the way they explain this. But so the article in this, the words have meanings including. So what is the word consideration? Selling, buying, exchanging, leasing, all this stuff, right? So regardless of the activity, so let's go to 7 here, or 7 on this one. It's not on here, but I probably can go through the other one. But if I go through here, regardless of activity of engaged in, so it's just fascinating the way it's doing it because it's saying in the buying or selling of real estate. So except as otherwise provided in this title, an individual shall be licensed to do any of this stuff, which is kind of funny. And so this law will definitely be changed. You know, they change laws like this all the stinking time. But what I can tell you is this law is so weird. It's trying to stop you from buying more than, actually offering to buy more than 2 pieces of real estate. And so the thing is, if I am a person that has a regular job and I see a house and I offer to buy 2 FSBOs I see in the market, it's a FSBO law. They're trying to stop me from buying houses without being licensed, which is unconstitutional. Okay. The only other law like that is in Illinois. Illinois is the same exact law, and they both love regulating. And what I can tell you is those laws aren't enforced at all. And the reason they're not being enforced at all is because of something that we call the contract clause in the Constitution. And I've read really hard in the contract clause, and the Supreme Court has actually talked about the contract clause before. The contract clause in the Constitution, I'm just going to bring it down because the Constitution is beautiful and I love bringing it up, is basically Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. And basically what it states, let's go to Cornell. Let's go to congress.gov. All right. That's straight from the horse's mouth. Okay. It's from constitution.congress.gov. Okay. Let's see if everyone can read this. All right. This is why no state enforces those laws that they make. They just try to stop wholesaling, but they're not going to enforce it. No state shall enter into a treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters, make money, all that stuff, right? Things but gold and silver coin to tender and payments of debts, pass any bills, ex facto laws, or laws impairing the obligation of contracts or to grant any title of nobility.
Boom.
Basically means it's stopping. The states can't supersede federal law, impairing, stopping somebody from obligating a contract, writing contract, or forming a contract, right? And this is from the Congress, okay? This is Congress. In addition to preventing states from enacting bills, the Constitution seeks to protect private rights from states in interfering by limiting states' power to enact legislation that alters existing contract rights. The Constitution Clause provides no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. Although this is language cannot be read as completely prohibiting a state's legislation impairing of contracts, the Supreme Court has interpreted the clause to limit a state's power to enact legislation that breaches or modifies its own contracts or regulates contracts between private parties. This is the most important part here. The Supreme Court says that the states are limited to laws that regulate contracts between private parties. Now, I don't want to get really boring on the technical nonsense of it.
I didn't know we were going to do a U.S. history lesson
But
today.
here's the thing about it. So the Supreme Court had this law, and somebody made a law in New York. This is what happened in the Supreme Court. I read this, okay? In 1903, 1910. Basically what happened was a person who hired somebody to work 60 hours a week. And it was against the law to work 60 hours a week in the 1900s. But they made a contract, and the worker was okay working 60 hours. Well, the state of New York went and says, you can't write contracts for somebody to work more than 40 hours a week. They impaired you from writing certain contracts. Guess what happened? Went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says, no, you can do that. And then the Supreme Court said, and you can read all the bills, and I had to go through a lot, unless somebody's health or welfare is in case. So if I try to hire you to go work 2,000 hours a week running, and you could probably almost, get really hurt doing something. So I write a contract with you to chop your arm off. That's against somebody's health and welfare, right? And so a state can go in and stop that. That's what they're limited for. And so the limiting me to buy somebody's house, no, that's not health or welfare. And so the federal law has clearly shown on multiple occasions in the this is the Constitution. If the wholesaling law ever goes to the Supreme Court, they will look at this and say, no, you can't stop from somebody from buying a house. Because guess what? What does the preamble say, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That is what it is. So if my pursuit of happiness is to own a home, which is called the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
That's a source of happiness for people. So if you're trying to impair me from doing something in the Constitution, the pursuit of happiness, it's not good, right? And so what I let you know is all these laws are not enforceable, and they are actually not enforceable. Now, I'm not going to get in legal trouble here, but I will tell you, there's not one person in Illinois that has gotten in trouble for wholesaling. Not one. Guys, show me a mugshot that says somebody wholesaled a house and they could go to jail. Not one.
So why do we have hundreds of thousands of internet feeds about banning and illegal and you're going to jail? And I'm like, and why is it only like me and Zach standing on a pedestal saying you guys are being played? The reason, guys, put 2 and 2 together. We put information out for free. We're telling you the truth. Anybody who seems to have an alternate agenda seems to go on the other side. So all I want you to do is be educated. You pick whichever side you want to be on. I don't care. I want you to be on the right side, what's best for you and your family. It's ridiculous to fear. Like wholesaling is going to be around forever. It is a fundamental part of real estate, and it wouldn't function correctly without it.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of trying to be controlled by being realtors. Guys, stop trying to go get your realtor's license. Number one, get informed and educated on your state laws. Talk to a real estate attorney, and then you make a decision what's best for you. Please don't watch someone's video. Like, watch more than our video and make a decision. But if someone just tells you it's banned, it's illegal, and they show you a law, that's it. And then they provide you a solution, like a brokerage or some sort of comprehensive kit to make you certified. Dude, wake up, man. You are being run over. It's not going to, listen, you will make no more money doing any of this stuff in wholesaling. No more. And it's actually going to deter you. And you know what? If you get your real estate license, you might wind up being a realtor. I don't have a problem if that was your intent going out. But if your intent was to be a wholesaler and you got your license, you did all this stuff, you wind up being a realtor, have clarity in what you're doing. We've always told you singular focus is the best way to be successful in life. I mean, constantly playing defense and stuff like that, that's where we want you to have an awakening and understand what's going on here. So, guys, it's up to you, man. You got to get both sides of the story. Most of the time, you're only getting one. And that's the frustrating part. And then me and Zach are kind of vilified. Oh, they're trying to get people in trouble. No, we're trying to educate you. Who doesn't want to know about the U.S. Constitution, the most important document in our country's history, and we're just going to kick it to the curb? So we've already given you the demonstration of the other business that has the opposite effect. There's a federal law that bans it completely, and almost every state is overriding it. So if states have the ability to override federal law, but then they ignore federal law and they change the law for these, which side would you rather be on? I think you all are on the right side. I've been doing this 20 years. I've heard this threat since I started in 2003. Yeah. It's just gotten worse with social media. And the one thing I've noticed is everyone's thrown that threat out. They always have a financial solution for you to fix it. But I'm just telling you, it's not going to work.
I got this one quote, and I'm not going to reveal, I'm not getting in trouble, but I've gotten this quote from people. I got asked this question.
Yeah.
I got a lot of trouble for saying, but it's true. Zach, you're telling me you want people to go around wholesaling without being regulated by a board? I said, yeah. And they're like, oh, what? This is stuff when people who are high and mighty and they believe in, this is on, I'm just going to say I'm getting in trouble too, but this is people who like being in frats. It's the same thing as being in a fraternity. You know why? When I'm in a fraternity, I agree for someone to regulate me. Get up at this time, go pull this prank, go drink this beer. Like, that's what a fraternity does. You let somebody tell you what to do. You get regulated by a private entity.
And we're not here to knock fraternities.
No, but
I was actually in one, but
no, but here's the thing.
I didn't know anything back then, and I went to college, and you guys know how that worked out.
People love it. And what I could tell you is, why would I want to join a fraternity that says you can't wholesale like this and you can't, and if you make too much money, give it to me. I don't like what you did. I already got one mother. I love my mom to death. But when I was a kid, she would tell me what to do and what I can't do, right?
Still do.
Now I'm an adult and I make a lot of money. I don't want a second mom. Okay. I already got one. All right. And she's great. But like, if I have a mom that's terrible, which is, a real estate board, in my opinion, it's terrible, right? I know what's right or wrong. I know how to follow the law. Okay. I know not to lie, cheat, steal. Like it's pretty much, I learned that in school. I don't need somebody to tell me what to do. So there are real wholesalers that are realtors that say everyone should be under a private corporation and tell me what to do, to make more laws on me because I'm in. I'll let you know. These wholesaling gurus are literally vegans. And this is the truth. They are what I call wholesaling vegans. You know why I call them wholesaling vegans?
Please tell me.
Now, the vegans, I'm not making fun of you, but I am telling you the truth. When you have a friend that is a vegan, and I do have friends that are vegans.
I was vegan briefly.
Do you know what they tell you every moment of the day? You should be a vegan. You should be a vegan.
Yeah.
You should be. Why do you want me to be a vegan? Because I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
CrossFitters are the same way. Why should I join CrossFit? Because I'm a CrossFitter, right? And you're going to learn very, very quickly that the only reason these people want you to do something is because they want you to be like them to justify their choice. When your friends make very bad decisions and they want you to join in on the bad decision, they only want you to do it because they're doing it. They want justification on why they're doing that bad decision or a good decision, right? Working out, you should work out with me because I'm working out and I'm trying to better my life, right? Who are vegans? Let's replace the word vegan with realtor. Why does every single person who says you should be a realtor that's a wholesaler is a realtor? If I'm a realtor and I'm a wholesaler, I should say you should be a realtor too. You know why? Because I'm a realtor and I want to justify why I'm a realtor. Every single guru, coach, consultant, whatever you call them, that tells you to get a real estate license for wholesaling is also a licensed realtor. It's the truth.
You fit their narrative. Like it's it. But guys, just understand this. Like to me, honestly, I much rather teach you on how to talk to sellers and stuff like this. But this topic keeps coming up over and over. And my God, guys, when these videos come out, challenge it. Like just say, listen, can you give me an exact example of somebody who went to jail for what you're saying? And then please explain in detail what your program to protect me is going to entail. And doesn't becoming a licensed realtor create a whole new like web for me? And don't you agree that getting licensed isn't going to teach me to be any better at wholesaling at all? And if you guys would ask that, because a lot of people get their license, the amount of people that get their license and then let it expire because they it's a lot of money, it's a waste of time. It didn't help me. It didn't protect me. I don't even know what the stats on that. I would love to know that stats, but I'm sure NAR is never going to share that with us. And by the way, NAR, who kind of backs this whole thing up, they're being sued by the Department of Justice for an antitrust lawsuit. And they just had a big hearing at the Supreme Court Appeals and they lost. The lawsuit moves forward. They're trying to break up NAR. They're basically trying to say when you have a buyer and seller's commission so if I list the house, the buyer's agent, that's on their own, whatever they pay them. Like the buyer needs to pay for that. So you know how real estate works. All that 4 to 6% commission, it's all rolled up in the price. And that's why realtors all jack up the price. Because if you think you're not paying a real estate commission as a buyer, you're kidding yourself. It's just hidden in the listing agreement. They're trying to separate that to make it fair. And I actually agree with it. Like you should get your own representation and pay your own bill. You would get a much, much better deal. But there's collusion and all the realtors, and like, this is just the way it goes. And if you ever ask a realtor, how the heck did they ever come up with 6%? 6% wasn't even challenged till like 10 years ago.
And this is coming from somebody that pays realtors a lot of money every single year. Heck, we own a real estate brokerage. Okay. So like I'm putting my wholesaling hat on. Okay, guys, at the end of the day, I want you to understand what we think. There's a country, we live in Florida. There's a country south of us, like 150 miles south of us, that decided to stop everything and regulate every single part of business. And that country is not doing too well right now. You know what country I'm talking about?
Cuba?
Yes.
Yeah,
They decided to
it's the only
regulate
place south
everything.
of Florida.
Guess what happens when you just decide to regulate everything?
It's destroyed.
They destroy it.
Corruption, like
when
it's endless.
So do we want that for wholesale? No, we don't, obviously. And we have a constitution. Thank goodness that we have that to protect us. So let's talk about the laws. Okay, let's get into it. So Illinois and Maryland have that FSBO law. They don't want you to sell houses or lease any property without a realtor, which is never enforced. Because I know people that rent more than 2 properties a year in Illinois that aren't licensed.
Oh my God.
Is the FBI going to come to my door and say, who are these? Who is the 80-year-old lady that's renting out her 2 houses in Illinois?
Yeah, you're right. The truth is, guys,
jail, right?
Anyone who has a realtor's license, I don't care how you get it. Some people start as realtors and they leave the dark side and cover the wholesaling. And I love that. I think that's great. But there is a common thread when someone has a bona fide real estate license, they always support and push it. It's like this special call. Listen, I'm not a realtor because if I drink that Kool-Aid, I might join that thing too. But it's like always ask someone when they push you, like you got to be licensed, ask them if they have a real estate license. And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they will.
Every single hate comment I get for this video, all from 100% licensed realtors. 100%.
But I like realtors, but realtors have a different set of skill sets than a wholesaler. They're not even close. Other than the real estate, that's the only thing that blends us together. And we want to buy as cheap as possible. They want to sell as expensive as possible. That's how you get the McCoy and Hatfield.
But here's the thing. I actually 100% believe realtors should be in 99% of real estate transactions. I truthfully believe in my heart, as somebody that helps a lot of people out, if you want to sell your house for the most, you should not sell it on your own. You should get a realtor and go do that. If you're looking to buy a rental property for the average Joe, use a realtor. I had a buddy,
because the buyer pays the premium. That's
well, they can't negotiate that. They can't do any of it. I had a buddy trying to buy a house. He's like, Zach, can you help me buy? But no, I'm like, no, go with a realtor. I am not doing this with you. And number one, they're going to give you a better price than if you do it by yourself. Every time.
I agree. And you'll probably have a more successful. Listen, guys, realtors work. That's why they run 95% of the market. We do a specific niche. And when we cross paths, we kind of get problems. So why are we going to try to take 3 to 5% of the market and shove it in the other 95%? You know how this works, man. Like we are a square peg. We are never going to fit in that round hole. It's never going to happen.
Here's the thing. There's no more live streams. The feds can't stop me because I'm telling you about the Constitution. That's the cool part.
Yeah.
And there's not one lawyer that can tell me I'm against this.
As long as I don't have a license, nobody's going to control me. And that's, guys, this is why America is so great, in my opinion. You get to do what you say what you want. I get it. I know all the stuff going on in the world, but the reality is if we lose this fight and you all conform, you guys
fight. It's not a fight.
It's ridiculous. You guys have your rights. I can't believe people are still telling you everything's banned. It's ridiculous. Do a little bit of homework. I'm not the smartest guy. He's much smarter than I am. He reads a lot more than me. Read the Constitution and understand it and just say, listen, start quoting people.
Section 1, Article 10, go to Congress. They'll show you all the case law with the Supreme Court, which clearly states they limit states from making laws against private contracts unless it's for the health or welfare of somebody. And health or welfare, it's not life or death wholesaling houses, right? And so
sometimes it is.
So it just, but you need to be regulated because wholesalers take advantage of people financially. Okay, so if you take financial advantage of somebody maliciously and criminally, you have what they call financial abuse laws. Those are real stuff. And so what I want to understand is, first of all, if I'm a realtor, so I get this all the time. If I'm a realtor, can I wholesale? Yes, you can. I'm not saying if you're a realtor, you can't wholesale. It's terrible. You just have some more regulation, but that's okay.
You have a lot more regulation.
And so let's go through the laws really quick, and then we'll break down some comments. But this is really simple. So Kentucky, which I showed again, it has a marketing law, tries to stop you from advertising, but they don't tell you what advertising is. But if you double close, you'll be fine. Heck, it doesn't even stop you from assigning the contract. You can assign the contract.
As long as you don't advertise it. Guys, you're smart.
But there's ways around that. And technically advertising doesn't tell you. Now let's talk about Oklahoma. Oklahoma has what we call a marketing law, not an assignment ban law, and marketing law. And I have videos on freelisting.com to do it. So what basically Oklahoma has, it's not even a wholesaling law. It's a marketing law. It's how you market contracts of real estate, not even how you market. So what Oklahoma basically states is you can't publicly market for sale a piece of real estate, which I'm not sympathetic to wholesaling regulation, but this is probably the one I'm most sympathetic for. You know why? This is my biggest pet peeve with wholesalers. They'll get a property under contract. All right.
Yeah.
I'll put a property under contract with you for $100
Yeah.
grand for Rick Ginn. I'm going to buy his house for
Yeah.
$100 grand. They will go to Facebook and says, I'm selling this house for $120,000
With pictures.
with pictures.
You're breaking the law.
You're not selling the house.
You're selling the contract.
You're selling the contract. Now, if I say I have a contract for sale, take a picture of the contract if you want to sell it, right? It's the funniest thing in the world.
So
right?
truly, if they were going to enforce all these laws,
Well, no,
that are within the book,
Oklahoma
yeah,
is actually an enforceable law because you are regulating the marketing of something, not the writing or the obligation of the contract.
yeah,
It is the actual marketing of it. You can actually do that, right? So, for example, I'm not going to get into the Second Amendment, but the Second Amendment, everyone knows what that is. You can't stop from somebody, according to the Second Amendment, from buying something, okay? But you can regulate who can buy it, when they can buy it, timeframes, things like that, right? And that is something that's different because that's not what we're talking about in the Second Amendment. That is not private contracts. So, you have to get a license to buy that. Well, you have to get a license to wholesale houses. No, because writing a contract is not the same thing as that. But for something like a Second Amendment type thing, I can't say that word on this channel. You can't stop from somebody from buying it, but you can regulate the people that can buy it or some things of it, right? That's what the Supreme Court has shown. The Supreme Court has shown that you can write contracts and privately do it all day, every day. So you can change the marketing of a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You can regulate that. That's for the states, but you can't stop from somebody from writing up a contract and then selling that contract. So Oklahoma, you just can't act like you're a realtor.
You know what the definition of a license is?
What?
Government taking your right away and selling it back to you.
Lord.
It's true.
So
don't get me started on fishing licenses. Crazy.
But, yeah. So basically what it says is in Oklahoma, basically what it basically means is you can call up a cash buyer and that's not publicly marketing. That's not publicly marketing. That's privately marketing, right? You can do a lot of things around that. It's all up to you, but that's easy. Nebraska has the same thing about marketing it. Then Arizona has something called an intention law, which is very interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't stop people who without a license because Arizona is actually a purple state. So they're not insanely regulatory heavy. And so they can't do something crazy. So Arizona has something called the intention law, which basically means if I intend to solely wholesale a house, I have to disclose to the seller that I am a wholesaler and I will be wholesaling this house. My sole intention is to wholesale it. That, not the worst in the world. It's kind of on the bubble of unconstitutional, but I don't think it's a terrible thing, right? And it's technically you can't do that.
No, listen, if you got good marketing practices anyways, I've already told you, the more transparent you are, the easier this business is. The more you try to hide stuff.
Well, here's the thing. You can get around that law really easy.
I'm talking about with the sellers, not with the law.
Well, let's talk about the law really quick. So with intention, if I intend to double close and then I decide, you know what, I don't want to double close this house anymore. I just want to buy it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Or I intend to buy it as a rental for myself because I have a hard money loan.
Yeah.
But interest rates are a little too high. I realized I'm just going to, you know what, I intended just to buy it myself, but I'm just going to give it to somebody else. I can go around that law every day, right? Guys, you can't stop wholesaling and without a license. That's the one thing we can. To stop that, you will literally have to stop people from buying and selling things. That is pretty much it. You have to literally stop people from buying and selling things. You're going to stop wholesaling.
Yeah. And
so in Illinois, they try to just say, fine. We're going to stop people from renting out property. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I actually know I know another landlord who rents out 2 houses in Illinois, and he should be going to jail apparently due to the mortgages, right? It's just so funny. And then Philadelphia has the same law for the city of Philadelphia. If you intend, but if you don't intend to wholesale, or if you only wholesale, if you intend to buy it, but then you wholesale it on the other end, they can't stop you. Yeah. And the reason why I'm so against this too is because wholesaling is the greatest side hustle or full-time job to go from 0 to 100K to $1 million without any money at all. It is actually the only one I know of. It's really, I mean, there's other stuff you can do, but like I'm telling you, it's one of the best ones.
Somewhat biased.
And here's the thing. I'm somebody that believes in the Constitution. I'm somebody that does not like discrimination. And I'm somebody that believes that everybody in the United States of America right now has a right to get rich if they want to work hard. Do you agree on that?
I agree 100%.
That stuff. So discrimination is one of the things that I don't believe in. I think that's really stupid. I think it's a terrible judgment call on everybody. And I just think it's overall terrible for the United States. Judging somebody based on how tall they are, their gender, and that stuff, terrible. I don't like it, right? And the thing about it is if you're a realtor, you are automatically discriminated against. I think for most states, you have to have a GED to become a realtor. So your education level will stop you from getting rich in real estate.
You guys
if you're
know
a realtor,
how that works.
I don't believe in education level. If you are a felon or if you did commit a felony, for most states, you have to wait 10 years or something like that. There's some places you can or can't, but like, I do believe, right? I do believe in the law. I believe you break the law, you should be prosecuted for it. And if you are found guilty from a court of your peers, let it be, right? That is what happened, right?
Not a board of realtors.
Not a board of realtors. But here's the thing on this, okay? If you committed a crime, I know a lot of people that have committed crimes. I've never committed a crime in my life. But the one thing I can tell you is people that commit crimes, they become rehabilitated and they're still great people. They are still great people that have had an error in their life and they've gone forward with that, right?
People make mistakes.
People make mistakes. And there are some crimes I do truly believe in my heart personally that are it's just let's unapologetic. I don't have any respect for that person. I think everybody has that, right? Ethically, morally in their heart, right? But for a lot of places, right? If you were 18 years old, you stole a candy bar, you were broke, definitely that's against the law. You should probably go to jail for it, right? But here's the thing. Oh, that is true. I have had sped before. I'm talking about
no. Can I tell a story real quick? When Zach was younger, ready for this? This is how just how safe he is. We got pulled over because he was going too slow. So that's why I'm laughing at the comment. The officer said, listen, you got to get at the speed of traffic or I'm going to write you a ticket for being too under the speed limit. So when he says that, he's literally not lying.
No,
I don't
break the law. But what I can tell you is from people out here, I know people that were, unfortunately, they've had some situations where they were addicted to drugs. Terrible thing. I hate it. It breaks my heart. They get better and they change their life and they get a family. They're a great person. They change their life. That's the story of so many citizens. And there's a lot of people in the United States that have committed felonies and they've gotten better from it, right? People make mistakes. People change. That's the point of living, right? The more time you have on earth, the better you are. And the thing is, if you're to get rich in real estate, you get regulated. If you've made a mistake in the past, you are a terrible person and you should never be able to be rich, right? And that's discrimination in my honest truth. This discrimination based on age. There's so much discrimination going on. To become a realtor, I hate it, right?
Yeah. Education level. Are you seriously? Your education level is determined if you become licensed or not. Guys, there's so many things that are to think about here. The people that are on here young, 15, 16, trying to get a huge jump start because they don't want the life of their parents. They love their parents. They just don't want the life. Oh, no, you got to wait till you get licensed to do anything. It's ridiculous. Guys, come on, man. I think we've beaten this to death, man. I don't want to discuss this anymore. And honestly, when you're going to have a discussion with someone, go deep on the question. Stop going, oh my God, I got to stop wholesaling. I'm scared. I'm going to be arrested. Guys, you've learned what happens when you follow the crowd. You are going to wind up just like the rest of them. The reason you got into wholesaling was to try to break free, change the trajectory of your life, and really get freedom. And now your freedoms are constantly being attacked, not only in just the great world, but even in our little wholesaling world. And me and Zach said, listen, we're not putting up with it anymore. You got to fight back. This is ridiculous. Stop being scared, hiding under a rock. The realtor license is not going to protect you.
I will fight anybody tooth and nail of how your education level doesn't determine how smart you are. I'll tell you all day. One of the greatest speakers of all time in the United States history, Frederick Douglass, never went to college. First of all,
he can't be a licensed realtor.
Well, here's the thing. He was never, I don't know if he got his GED, but one of the most eloquent speakers of all time, brought one of the greatest changes in the United States. one of the smartest people in U.S. politics ever, or just in general. And he never really got any formal education. I don't think he might have got some high school, but not really any good formal education. But he was able to make changes. He was able to represent the United States, right? He did all this great stuff, but he never got educated. And then every single time I bring him up, people are like, well, he's an exception. No, he's not an exception. You don't have to get education to be good, right? And what I can tell you, some of the greatest people you look up to, they didn't have formal college education.
But why is education solely defined on going through the government's program to get educated? Guys, you have all the tools. Your education level can be of a PhD or a doctorate on your own without ever even going to schools. There's so much information available today more than ever. You can by far bypass any of these public schools, any of these systems, if you make the effort, just because they have the program. But if you educate yourself and you elevate yourself, then in the eyes of the government, you're not qualified to even like write a contract anymore. And that's where the world has changed. That's why you guys are tuning in here, because we give you the greatest education in the world on wholesaling. It doesn't cost you a dime. And the rest of the industry struggles with that because they're still using the old format. It's broken, guys. Things got to change. Our business is being attacked because they're trying to put it in one narrow scope to try to protect a few bad deals. Guys, there's going to be bad apples no matter what you do. We're never going to completely eliminate licensing them. That's crazy.
So age, education, all this stuff, we don't believe in it. So if you can understand what we're trying to say here, these laws are unconstitutional. There's only one currently right now, Illinois, and that law is not being enforced at all. And I had to wait. I remember that law passed. I'm like, I got to shut up because maybe they're going to enforce it. And then it'll go to the Supreme Court, get shot down. The problem is they don't enforce it at all. And it's been 4 years and I've been kind of quiet for 4 years on it, but like it's been 4 years. I haven't seen one on one instance, right?
Not one, but
I have it. Oh, go ahead.
Hundreds of videos saying you're going to jail for it. Like, guys, the data's in, man. Like, stop being scared. Go out and do your business. Do it ethically. Do it correctly. And understand your state laws. Talk to a licensed real estate attorney, and you make the decision. Stop letting these people make decisions for you. Get the story.
But guess what I've seen real life instances of?
Yeah, what?
Realtors that get their $80,000 assignment fee taken away because somebody complained.
What? Yeah.
They legally made 80 grand. They legally made 80 grand, but the the Board of Realtors, which isn't a government institution, said,
by the way, what is everybody on that board of realtors?
Realtors.
They're all licensed realtors. They do
not
like wholesalers. They're the ones pushing. So just understand, you're not going to go through like a jury of your peers. You're going in front of agents. They're probably already made the judgment before you got there, and it's going to be a problem. I have another for another state. He went and did hey, this guy or gal told me to get this protection. Dude, he's been in the board 9 times. He's been through 4 brokers, and nobody wants to take him anymore. He says, I'm just letting it lapse. I've created a monster here. So just understand, any type of real estate transaction, you are now under the umbrella of a licensed realtor. And if they deem you did something that didn't follow the code of ethics, which is a whole set of rules I'll never go through because I don't believe in half of them. If they pass the judgment, they take your money away and fine you.
And then you have the X on your record and no broker wants you.
Yeah.
And now if you wholesale correctly and legally, but someone complains to you, no broker wants you ever again. It's like, it's crazy. And then you're screwed if somebody decides that you wholesaled legally, but they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Now you can't wholesale for the rest of your life if you're under the realtor umbrella. Guys, this is the last thing I want to say. Why do I fight so hard on this? There are real estate people currently right now that want to tell you that we should all band together. And the solution is to fight the law. No, not to fight the law. Our intention is to go to each state and say, you should ban wholesaling. And for it to be legal, they have to be licensed under me. There are people that are trying to do that right now. And I don't believe in it. And that's it. I'm not saying
there's nothing to fight. You're not breaking the law. You are federally protected. Guys, use the other industry as an example. Like, people can go away like 15, 20 years even for one violation. Not, ours isn't anything like that. But the only thing that gets you is practicing real estate without a license. And honestly, these laws, in my opinion, are unenforceable. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm telling you, educate yourself on your state laws meet with a bona fide real estate attorney for your state, and you make the choice. Stop being scared, because if you add up all these fees and all these protections and all the reporting you're going to have to do, in the end, it's never going to make you a better wholesaler. And you might wind up just becoming a realtor, because the goal of them doing this is to have you conform. So if you want to do that, then just understand what you're getting into.
Exactly. So I think we've exhausted our
It's
anger,
exhausting.
but we just broke down the laws, and that's pretty much it. I
Should
just want you
wrestle
guys to
this
have
out, man. Is what we should.
I want
do.
you guys to have all the knowledge. So if you go
Get
to Wholesaling Houses for Real, and you want to hop on, talk to us one-on-ones, you click here. I'm pinned right here, and you click here. You join the streamer link. Boom. That's it. So ready to do some one-on-ones?
Yeah. I mean, I got to get off this stuff, man.
All right, let's get it. First
lose
off,
my
we
rocket.
got Chadwick. What is up?
How you doing?
Turn it up there.
I'm doing good. How are you, man? What's up? How can I help you out today?
Yes, I have 2 deals under contract. One in Petersburg and one in Richmond. The one in
Nice.
Richmond, it's a short sale, and it's been 2 months since the bank didn't give us a closing date. Still waiting till now. Is there any way we can speed up this thing?
So you said it's a short sale.
Yes,
So you have it under contract, right?
yes. At the JV deal, my partner in Richmond.
So unfortunately, the seller is at liberty till the bank gives permission, because the bank has to give a permission slip to lower the price. Now, let me ask you this: on the seller side, do they have somebody working on like negotiating and stuff with the bank to try to get the short sale accepted?
Yeah, they have someone. Yes.
Yeah. So in most of these instances, like if do you know if the realtor is trying to negotiate it themselves, or do they like have a lawyer or someone like a third party trying to help them out?
On the realtor, because it's on market property.
Okay. So here's the reality. When you're just trying to buy a short sale, you don't really have control. So look at it as basically an option and go work on your other stuff. And then they have to give you ample notice to close, usually like 30 days, because sometimes 6 months can go by and they go, okay, hey, Chadwick, we're ready to go. So like, don't spend a lot of energy. Guys, I flipped short sales for a long time. If you can control the buyer and seller, there's so much more you can do with it. But since you're just a buyer, you don't have any other. It's like saying, I hope the stock price go up, but you have no influence over it. So like, don't stress about it and just keep following up, and don't kill yourself about it, and understanding sometimes short sales just don't work out. So guys, just so you know, a short sale is when someone owes like 200,000 against a house, and the house is only worth like $150 and needs a lot of work. And someone like Chadwick's trying to buy it for like 100 or 120. To get that, the bank has to sign off on the lien on the house, and the banks on purpose will drag the process out as long as they humanly possibly can. So stay with it and keep the realtor on that back. I assume there's a realtor involved or not?
Yes, there is a realtor involved.
So
Yeah.
you just lean on the realtor. That's all you can do.
Okay. And one more thing, in Richmond, you said we must ask for a 30 days of code violation, but they gave me about like 121 lead, which is too small, because Zach said need about 1,000 leads to get one deal. Then the ask other side, was this fire damages and all those to add up to 1,000 lead, or I must ask their past 90 days lead or what?
So do 30 days for the code violations. It's going to be hard to get 1,000 for 30 days. So that's just going to add that onto your pile. So what we're going to do is we're going to add possibly pre-foreclosures in the mix. We should add some evictions lists, right? The water shutoff, the fire damage property. We start adding them, and then we get 1,000, and then we do them all together.
Okay, got it. And one last thing, it's the drawing for dollars virtually. And you said it takes about 70% close to the real one. So do I have to get 500 or 700 leads virtually?
Virtual drawing for dollars probably one of the harder ones to predict. It's not as easy as drawing for dollars, because I get people that will go in here and just crush, like destroy it. And some people just fail at virtual drawing for dollars. So the best thing I could probably do is you're probably gonna have to double my guess in Richmond. The amount of drawing for dollars deals, or probably do 1,000 on it. Maybe 700. I gotta get data for Richmond, but as long as the Google Maps is somewhat updated, at least 2021, I think you'll be fine.
All right, no problem. Thank you. That's all.
All right. Working hard, man. Keep it up, dude.
Thanks, Cedric.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Boom.
Where's he
Love it.
located again?
I I forgot.
He's not in the United States. So
Is he?
No, he's
Is he
not.
not? Oh, okay.
Well, maybe I misquoted, but I'm not sure.
Chadrick, where are you calling from?
South Africa.
South
See,
Africa.
that's what I said.
All right. I thought it was South Africa.
I did. I just, Chad, I
Beautiful.
love your work ethic, and
I
like
love it.
you are like an inspiration, like wholesaling. And if anyone understands, like, this guy's doing it remotely from another country. It's like amazing, different time zones, everything, and he's still out there fighting every day. So,
What time is it for you?
yeah, what time is it?
It's 25 past 9.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, he's up. He's up early.
he's ahead. He's way ahead of us. So he is like, guys, you got to take Chadrick. Like, he's basically starting from scratch, just trying to figure it out. And like every time he talks to someone, he figures out one more thing and he keeps stacking it up. Although it's more challenging to do it by then, but he loves it. I'm just telling you, if you think you have it hard in the United States, look at people
Love
like
it.
Chadrick that like, we have people all over the world like doing this,
South
and competing
Africa-
and getting deals.
They got some decent internet though, so like you can make it
The
work.
internet's changed the world, man. I love what you're doing, man. Just keep doing
it up,
man.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. I'm telling you, the most dangerous virtual wholesaling countries of like people that could destroy you in your competition are going to be any international place that speaks English. Like, because those people work harder than you.
They want it.
I
Like
will.
they know what. Like
So in Africa, basically any country that primarily speaks English.
mhm.
I mean, they got other languages, obviously, but like that they grow up speaking English, you're screwed. Like, I'm just like, because those people work harder than the lazy person. If you're lazy, you're screwed. So South Africa is one of them. Another huge one's Nigeria. Nigeria is huge. People don't realize it. They're a little smaller than the United States, but they're almost as big. Like, they are like 10 Californias or something like that, population wise.
That's the crazy part in our school system. Like the rest of the world always teaches people multiple languages. And we don't start teaching like Spanish until like high school. And honestly, when you're young, man, you could easily absorb this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not up to the school system to do everything, but like you go to any other country, like they are proficient in multiple languages. And it's like, and they learn this stuff at like 4 and 5. And I tell you, by the time you're in high school, man, Spanish seemed like a foreign language to me.
Because it is. Miles, what is up?
Yo, so I got a few questions for you guys. I kind of need some direction, which way to go. So I've been trying to get this wholesaling thing going since about October, and I haven't got anything. I've been doing driving for dollars, government lists. The only thing I probably haven't done is reverse driving for dollars. But is there any? I'm in Utah doing local.
We're in Utah.
The Weber County, Davis County, so just a little bit north of Salt Lake.
Okay. I think I've talked to you before about this, right?
Yes. It's probably been about a month since I've talked to you.
It's only been a month. Do you remember our last conversation? Because I think I remember it.
It was just talking about driving for dollars and
No,
stuff.
but what did I tell you to do?
Honestly, I can't remember exactly what you told me.
He's being honest.
I told you to do reverse driving for dollars, bro.
Okay.
And you hadn't done it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a list that I just got of everyone that I wasn't able to contact from everyone I've been cold calling. I was going to start writing stuff out and doing reverse driving for dollars.
How many driving for dollars leads do you have?
In the last week, I had 129, but I also did pre-foreclosures and stuff on top of that.
Okay, so how many driving for dollars leads have you contacted?
Out of those 129, I probably
all of them.
So I've called every single one of them.
So you've only done 129
just this week.
Okay, I mean all time.
Oh, all time. I've probably close to 1,000, if not a little more.
So 1,000 contacts for driving for dollars.
Yeah. I try and get at least 200 a week, at least.
So let's add in some reverse driving for dollars, bro. That's going to double your contact rate, which is going to double the amount of time you can contact. So let's do some reverse driving for dollars and reverse drive for dollars government lists on top of that too.
Okay. Is there a specific government list that's best for that, or just all of them?
You're in Utah, so is it still snowing there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I would say code violations are going to be okay. I think pre-foreclosures are probably going to be your best one because you can't really go off of how damaged the property is. You kind of have to go off of how damaged someone's financials are. So pre-foreclosures, Evictions are going to be a big one, right? And those are probably going to be the ones I'd say. Because if somebody gets evicted from the property and the tenant, the homeowner, the landlord goes to their house, you're sticky note right there.
Yeah.
Boom.
Listen, there's no rhyme or reason like when you get a deal, or like some people get it in their first week, which honestly kind of hurts you because it creates a ridiculous expectation. I was the one that took some time to do my first one. So, but like he had sooner success than me. So sometimes it's timing. So you know what they say about luck? It's just, it's timing and preparation put together. And you just got to keep going forward because it's just the truth of this business. So many people try to sell you like, oh, just do this and that and you'll get a deal. And if you contact 200 people, you're going to get a lead. There's so many variables in there. It's ridiculous. I know people in Salt Lake that have very good success. Nobody starts out like a rock star. So don't get discouraged. And remember, like your attitude and enthusiasm when you contact people it's all they know you by. Like they don't know Miles, so they're going to make an instant judgment. So I get it, dude. It's frustrating and I feel it, but like we've all been there. Yeah. The only difference between you and me is like you just have to decide if you're going to stick it out. Because when people go, well, if I don't get this by this date, I'm done. I tell them you're probably better off just leaving now. So you're going to have to recharge yourself and remind yourself why you're doing it to get through these tough times. It's just the reality of the business. Yeah. It's never told the truth on it. It is the truth. It's hard, man. Like it's a lot of work. And I know that. And I'm telling you, you're just beginning the fight. You just got to kind of refocus. And what you don't understand is in the last 30 days, you've learned more about yourself and the business than you ever thought you would. And you wouldn't get it if you didn't go through this journey, because when you get a deal, you're going to savor it much more. And then you're going to have like an epiphany, like, okay, now I know which direction I got to keep going. And guys, it's the journey in wholesaling from start to your first few deals that makes you the person you are. You can't pay to cut in line in this thing. I don't care how much money you got. I think the more money you got started on wholesaling, the more penalized you are because you never really figured it out. And because like you ever tell me, oh, I spent $30,000 to make 10,000, like you lost 20 grand and you're no better off than you started. So I'm a strong believer in people just getting in the trenches and just diving in, getting it done. So you got to stay strong. Like I already told people it's a 2-year journey. Just get through it. It's the fastest 24 months of your life.
Should I branch down into Salt Lake? Because I've stayed out of Salt Lake City. It's that whole area. Should I branch down to there or stay farther north like that Layton Ogden area?
Miles, let me tell you honest truth. The more marketing you do is just going to increase the chance of you getting a deal.
Okay.
But you asking me, Zach, should I market more in bigger markets? If you can, sure. Right. Like I'm never going to say no to marketing more. Yeah. The more you market, the better chance of getting a deal. That is it. So I just, we can debate this all day.
Yeah, you got to pick your markets. That's somewhat like of a personal decision that you have to break down. But like, I don't want you working 24 hours a day, but like you're definitely going to have to burn like the midnight oil and the idea is just make progress every day. Yeah. The frustrating thing about the wholesaling, especially the first 90 days, it's an uphill climb, guys. You're starting with zero momentum and you're trying to push a boulder uphill. I'm telling you, man, if you can get it, just get it going. That's the whole start of it. And most of the time we have to fight this battle first. And then you have to take the actionable steps and you have to measure them. And most people don't get past those two things. That's why you have such a high failure rate in wholesaling. So if you know that up front, take it in consideration of where you are in your journey and I know you're frustrated, but like, I'm just telling you have to move forward if you want to survive in this business. You got it, Miles.
I got one more question. So I went to the different counties requesting the water shutoff list, and they keep giving me that it's against Utah code. And I have the code right here. And so they keep not wanting to give it to me.
Okay. So do a FOIA request. And if they deny the FOIA request, you're probably just going to have to go over to the utility liens. Okay. That's it. They can't stop you from doing that. Okay. So when they don't spend money on the water, they can put a lien on the house, and you're just going to have to go to utility liens. No, okay. That's it.
Every county has a different path to getting there. You got to exhaust it. And here's the reality. You can't always get every list. That's just the truth. You shoot for a list. That's why you never just want to chase one list. So go for as many as you can. If you get like half of them, like great. And then you can spend the time trying to figure out how to get these lists. And 9 times in 10, you're trying to figure out how to get past their privacy policy.
Yeah.
Period. So keep that in mind when you do it.
Cool. Well, I think that's all I had.
Okay.
All right.
So thank you guys very much.
No problem, Miles.
Appreciate it. Keep it up,
See you,
Miles.
bud.
Yep.
All right. Try to do a quick one real quick. Andy,
What's up? What's up?
how are you,
What's
man?
going
What's
on,
up?
man?
How can I help you out?
I'm good. I'm good. How are y'all?
Good, man.
So I'm actually new to wholesaling, and I just started like 2-3 weeks ago.
All right.
And I got a property that I'm talking with the seller, and I mean, he told me he can't really negotiate down the price too much because he has a mortgage that he has to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
And I did all the numbers. I mean, I watched all your videos. I literally go throughout freewholesaling.com, and I did the ARV minus repairs, and the numbers seem right, but I don't know if I'm calculating it wrong,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
How much is owed on the property?
I think what he told me, he would like to get at least like 70,000 for the property. It's a 3-1,
How much is
1,400 square feet.
I don't think he knows. That's the problem.
And do you know how much is owed on the house?
No,
Okay. Did you ask him?
no, I have not asked him.
That's a question you should ask, because he's saying because he owes a certain amount, that's what he needs. What if he owes 20,000? He doesn't
Right.
need to get 70.
Yeah.
No, right? And so that's a key thing you should understand.
Sometimes sellers lie to you, but honestly, if you use tools, with like PropStream and stuff like that, it will spit you out instant answers. And if you want to do it for free, you can actually go on official records and you can reverse engineer. So if he bought the house in 2020 and he has a 30-year mortgage and he's 3 years into it and he borrowed 150 grand, you can go in the computer. This is one of those things where you use this chat GPT AI. You don't even have to think about this. You just spit it in there and it'll tell you what the guy approximately owes. So I always like to ask sellers the answers I already know to see if they're being truthful and honest. If they're being truthful and honest, you have a great path to getting a deal. When people lie and manipulate, don't become part of their dramatic gossip type of thing.
Yeah.
And so you can do little things like this. Do exactly what I told you. You can go in official records, cross-reference his name and property, find out when he bought the property. There will be a mortgage recorded. It'll tell you how much it's for. You're going to have to guess the interest rate a little bit, but it was probably pretty low when he bought it. And then if it's 3 years into it, you can just go in the chat GPT and say, listen, run an amortization schedule for 150 grand for 30 years from this date to that date and tell me what the balance is.
Well, let me ask Andy a question. Andy, do you know how much the property sold for last time?
It sold for a pretty low amount. I think it sold for around 20,000.
When?
Like in 2008. Last time, when I
So-
checked it, 2008.
Unless he got a second mortgage,
And you can look that up. You can see when he
Yeah.
actually got his last mortgage. You don't even have to go through
and
all
it'll
that
show
stuff.
the amount, right?
Yeah.
And so based on that, he probably doesn't owe 60.
He could have refinanced.
And so he
it.
could have, but look it up and just ask
Mhm.
him. One trick I'll tell you, this is a big one.
Uh-huh.
How much do you owe, Mr. Seller? He lies to you, says 60. I said, okay, well, why don't we write up where you're just going to net $10,000? And they're like, oh, no. Well, why? If you owed 60,
That's true.
right? They're like, well, and then guess what happens if he really owed 40, right? And that is how you stop a lying, cheating seller, right? Sellers don't be regulated to sell their
Yeah.
house from lying to me, but we should regulate the sellers, honestly, not the wholesalers.
Andy,
but-
sometimes sellers aren't honest with you, and it is your job to kind of like fact check them, because when people are going to flat out lie, most likely you can't get a good deal from them because they're going to lie and try to manipulate. So if his intention is truly to sell it and say you owed a $50,000 mortgage and he can't go below that, then the record should show a $50,000. But if there's no mortgage, like you can't make up mortgages, they're publicly recorded.
Yeah.
So you can look this up on your own. Just check the facts and keep spending time at freewholesaling.com. Go through it. Part of like when you get into the nitty gritty is like when they say stuff like that, you got to kind of go, okay, I like to know the answer ahead of time. That way I can. So if he says, I have a mortgage and the public records clearly state, here's the worst case scenario. You could run it by if you work with a local title company, and they'll tell you if he has a mortgage in 2 seconds too.
Yeah. Or
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
You
it's
just
an
go
easy way to shoot.
listria.com, dmzac.com, zacdata.com, any of those services. They'll
Yeah.
also do it for you there. But really just look up the public records on their name, and that's how you know how much they owe. And then you can tell from there. But dude, negotiate the lowest price you possibly can. And then between you and me, I hate to say this, just see how much they're going to take it for and see how much a buyer's willing to buy it for.
So remember what people offer a property for. You can take it in consideration, but don't make so many wholesalers assume that's the ARV. It's rarely. It's usually way over, especially on FSBOs. So don't let it influence. So do your own research. Either use one of the tools we provide for you. A lot of them you get a free trial anyway, so check it out. Or you can go on public record and figure it out under the official records and see if the guy has a mortgage. But you're on your path to see. You're smart because you're taking actions. You're not sitting or studying it for 3 and 6 months, and you're learning. This won't be the first time it happens to you. I promise you. It won't be the last either.
Right. Another question I had is, how do you go about when the seller is not in the county or is out of state? Do they have to show up to closing day, or how does that work?
No. We're in an electronic world. They do what they call like a mail away, or they send the only thing that's challenging to get for someone that's out of state is they got to notarize typically the deed and some of the legal documents. And so what a title company arranges it, you never arrange it. Have them set it up. They have a notary meet them at wherever they're at. They have services, notary123.com. I have nothing to do with it, but it works for us.
Yeah, I like that one.
And then it's like $50 and they'll have someone go there and do all that stuff for you. So the seller never has to leave. You never have to leave, and it works perfectly.
Okay. And my last question, does equity affect a deal?
Kind of like we said in the beginning, of course it will.
Yeah.
Right. But like to an extent, if the seller has more than 50% equity, it will not affect the deal at all. Once you start going into 40, 30, 20, yes, it will. But it only affects the deal, and you're not going to make 70, 80K on the deal. So, yeah, I would say if the seller has, let's say there's 40% or more equity, it won't affect the deal between you and me. Anything below that, it will.
Once there's little to no equity left, then the options run out. And sometimes that's where traditional wholesaling won't work. Sometimes like a creative financing where you take over their mortgage or something like that. And if they have little to no equity, your hands are tied. It's either this or that. Like there's only so much you can do. So the more equity, the more options. That's just the rule of real estate. Me and Zach didn't create that.
It.
Yeah.
Right.
You're on the right track, man. Just keep taking action and do what you're doing. And take action, study, and do it simultaneously, because that's the best way to learn wholesaling.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you guys. Have a good day.
Andy. Get it.
Have a good one, man. All right. That is it, guys. So if you want to learn wholesaling real estate for free, just go to freewholesaling.com, or heck, don't. We're just here to help you out. So if you want to get the best help, go to freewholesaling.com. And honestly, do not listen to these broke wholesaling gurus. They're just trying to sell you on stuff. And this is the law. And so follow it the way you can, follow the Constitution, and you'll be fine. Guys, this is Zach Ginn signing out.
Rick Ginn signing out.
See you guys soon. Have a blessed one.
See you.
Boom.